Hello, today we'll be talking about few commands and files that are used in networking. First of all, a command that is if con config. This command is used to display the IP address and other interfaces related information on our system. This here is showing me ETH0. This is my LAN card, and LO is my loopback address. Now to see the configuration file of ETH0, I can do cat slash etc sysconfig network scripts ETH0. Now here you can see it showing me the device that's ETH0. My MAC address is 08002787C3 3C. NM control is the network manager. Here it's no, on boot is no, and the IP address is set to 100.1.1.1. Now what if I would like to give it a static IP address? The command that I can use here is setup. This is a utility actually, and here I'll go in network configuration, device configuration ETH0. Just make sure that the DHCP has been unhighlighted, otherwise you will not be able to give it your machine a static IP address. Here I can make it, let's change it to 100.1.1.2. net mask will be 255.0.0.0, and since I do not have a DNS server setup, so just let's leave it blank. Okay, save and quit, and quit. Now as you all must be knowing, whenever we make any changes we need to restart the service. So here the command would be service network restart. This will restart our service. As you can see now, it is shutting down the interface ETH0, and then it is shutting back the loopback interface as I had mentioned earlier, bringing up the loopback address, loopback interface. If you note here, it has not brought the ETH0 up, so that I'll have to do it manually. So before that, if I just check my IP address, if config, you can see ETH0 is not present, so that interface I'll have to bring it up. That would be if, the command would be if up ETH0. If I like to bring down the interface, so I can just do if down. This command will actually bring down the interface, and if you have to make any changes, then you can again do if up ETH0. Well, just keep one thing in mind, that the command that I used to set up will not work if you're on a non-graphical operating system. So if you're on a non-graphical operating system, the command would be system config network TUI. This is same as I'll do device configuration ETH0, and I can just change the IP address. And do quit. Now what if I like to give it a dynamic IP address? I can do if config ETH0, give it 100.1.1.5, and that mask would be 255.0.0.0, and press enter. Now if you check our IP address, it should have been changed to 100.1.1.5. but just keep one thing in mind, since this was dynamically changed after a reboot, or even if I just restart the service, this IP address will not, it would just go back to the previous IP address that was set in the setup utility. Let's just check that just to be sure. Service network restart. As I said before, I need to bring the ETH up again, so I'll do if up ETH 0. If we check my IP address, if config, you can see that 100.1.1.1. Sorry, 100.1.1.3 has been replaced by 100.1.1.2 that was earlier set up. Well, this was how to check your IP address, how to see the config file, and how to assign a static IP address. Now let's talk something about routing or routing, as you may call it. Well, since if your computer or your system has two or more network interfaces, they're called dual homed or multi-homed, and you need to make sure that each interface has a gateway that it can route through. Using the route command, you can display the current routes the system has and add an additional routes if you would like to add one. So if you just write route, this is showing me the default gateway that has been set up. Now what if I would like to add a default route to it? The command would be route add ADD default gateway. Let's write 100.1.1. Give it 7 to ETH 0. Now if we check it again, the command, you can see the default destination is default and the gateway has been set up to 100.1.1.7. This is our routing table has been made. Now if I like to delete it, I can just write route del. If I check it again, it's been deleted. Well, this was routing, just the basics that would be covering. And then an important command is ping. Ping command, well, you all must be knowing about it, and it's actually used to verify that you can talk to other hosts on the network. So since I just don't have any I'm not on the network, so I'll just ping my own IP address. So I'll do ping 100.1.1.2. But the problem here is that in Linux it just goes on and on and on and on and on. So a better way would be to assign a number to it, that you could write my ping minus c 2 times ping 2 times 100.1.1.2, and you can see it's pinged 2 times and it gave a message. 2 packets were transmitted, 2 were received, 0 packets were lost, and the time was 1006 milliseconds it took to ping the system. Well, now we have few more commands that few more files that you all must know, and this is a file cat /etc sys config network. If I press enter here, sys networking, yes, hostname. This command cat /etc sysconfig network is used to see the host name on our system and its local host. And the main thing on this file is that we can make changes to our the name. We can change it by vi editor. If we do vi/etc sysconfig.network, here we can just change our host name to whatever we want. And then we have a file that's cat/etc resolve config. Well, this contains the IP address of the DNS server. Since you can see I do not have any DNS server, so this is access I made, and if it was connected to a DNS server, it would show me the IP address of the DNS server. The command is cat/etc resolve.config, and then we have a command that contains the local IP address to host name, which is like a local DNS, I would call it. It's etc hosts, and you can see it's been I don't have any entry on it, but if they did had any local DNS settings, I could call it, it would be in cat/etc hosts. And what else could come in this? And there is a command that's netstat. Netstat is used to see the ports that are running on your system. So I could do net stat minus TUAPE. Let's pipe that with the service grep SSH. As you can see, it's listening. Well, just to be clear on this netstat, if I just stop, let's stop the service SSH stop. Sorry, it should be SST. Now if I do netstat minus TUAP grep SSH, it will come blank. That SSH is not listening on any port. And well, that's all about networking. See you next session. Have a nice day.